is to make a decision as to what the law is and what the evidence is and what the result should be. And that means in any day, on any day, there will be cases that are found to have merit and there are cases that are found to not have merit. But do we say it's a nuisance to have the cases heard by a tribunal? Of course not. How do you know before the tribunal decides what the result should be? Can you stand at the entrance and say, well, you have merit, you don't. I haven't heard anything, but you have merit, you don't. That's the job of the tribunal. That's why you have tribunals. So they make decisions. We don't want to stop cases from being heard. The strength of the rule of law is that you can be heard. You can present your case, and you can get a determination from an independent, impartial arbiter as to whether the case has merit or not. So don't eliminate the tribunal because there are cases before it which may not have merit. There will be before any court or tribunal. Their job is to make that decision. Is it a nuisance to have cases before courts and tribunals? Of course not. Of course not. So be careful, I ask you, and be cautious, I ask you. When people say, oh, we should get rid of the tribunal, we should send everyone somewhere else to the courts because there are nuisance cases that come before the tribunal. Well, there will be such cases that go before the courts. Are you going to get rid of the courts next? The tribunal is a specialized body. It has special knowledge. So if you're going to have the same types of cases that could be heard by a court as are heard by a tribunal, what's the real reason in getting rid of the tribunal? What's the real reason in getting rid of part of our shared determination to enforce human rights in the province of Ontario? What's the real reason? And I think those that advocate it need to tell us what the real reason is. We have a right to know, because this is a society in which we live. And many have paid a price, often a very high price, for the rights and freedoms that we all enjoy. And so if they're going to challenge the means of not only achieving but protecting those rights and freedoms, we need to know what the real reason is. What the real reason is. And to support the tribunal, we have, believe a first in Canada, a Human Rights Legal Support Centre, which provide people with access to legal advice, people who wish to make a complaint to the tribunal. And for those systemic issues of discrimination, systemic issues that need to be examined in depth, we have the Human Rights Commission. Every system of protection, adjudication, and enforcement requires and will always need improvement. But our specialized enforcement means have been part of Ontario's fabric for decades. Part of our individual, institutional, our shared determination to have the society in which we live protect human rights in all their important forms. And so the challenge for us as we go forward, the challenge for us is to maintain our focus, is not to relax, step back and say the hard work's been done by somebody else and we can now move on, but is to accept the challenge that they have given us. Accept the challenge they've given us by their hard work, accept the challenge they've given us by their achievement, accept the challenge that they've given us by the society that they have helped to build, and to maintain not only the fact, but the promise, which has always been Ontario. And we maintain it by remembering every day that we have to be vigilant in the protection of the rights and freedoms in which we live. Maintain it by protecting and supporting not simply the institutions, but the principles which those institutions represent. We need to make sure that the work of Hugh Burnett, Patricia Potzlick, his daughter's here today, the work of Newton Rowell, and the work of thousands of people who took great risks, but whose names we might never know, who we might never meet, but who have done so much to ensure the strength of the society in which we live, to make sure that their achievement is maintained not only for ourselves, not only for our family, but for everybody who lives today and might live in the future, in what has got to be the best place you could possibly hope to live. Thank you very much.